Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Cop Talk TV. In this week's edition, we will be picking Liverpool's greatest left winger. So we'll be touching and looking at some of the players from the past that have occupied the left hand side
Right.
for Liverpool. So there'll be wingers, there'll be converted left midfielders, there'll be left forwards, but the key is it's players that have occupied the left hand side of Liverpool. So we've got two people joining us this evening on a panel. Good evening, Preds. How are you, sir? I think he's going to get back to us. He's still on mute. Can you hear us, Preds? No, we can't. You may need to log out and come back in. Good evening, Honest Con. How are you this evening, sir?
Good evening, Stoney.
Good evening. All right, so just so everyone knows, we haven't got any bots and they're not AI. Honest Con is a real person, and so is Preds. Good evening, Vinny. Thanks for tuning in. Vinny, what we're probably going to do before the end of the show, I'm going to see if you can leave your details on a private chat. This week we'll be speaking about Liverpool's greatest left winger. Next week is going to be a part one. And we'll be speaking about Liverpool's best central midfielder. And then the week afterwards, it's going to be the second episode. I know there's going to be a lot of midfielders that have played for our amazing club over the years.
1 2 1 2.
Brilliant, you're
1
back
2.
with us, Freds. So trying to fit the greatest midfielder into one show is going to be near enough impossible. So Vinny, just remember before the end of the show, just try and leave us your contact details so I can get with you privately, and I would like to invite you on the show for next week. Okay.
I got Vinny's details anyway, so I can give you them if he doesn't mind. Yeah.
Excellent. So what I think we're going to do for the next couple shows is we've had a lot of our viewers who have always added a lot of content. They've been amazing. So this is just going to be our way of giving back to invite one of our people that tune into the show per series will actually do that as well. So let's bring Preds back into the stream. Good evening, Preds, sir. Can you hear us?
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
There you go. Perfect.
Just to let the viewers know. Listen, it was perfect. It was fine, and then you go live, and it all goes Pete Tong.
Happens. Gremlins in the house. So let's kick off the show this week. We have had some information about Mr. Jordan Henderson possibly making his way to join one of the clubs in Saudi Arabia. What's your comments on this, gents?
I think we let Preds go first.
You know what? He's been a brilliant servant of the club. He's the skipper of the team, and he's got a great deal of influence, not just at Liverpool but within the Premier League as well. He's well respected. On the other side of it, they're football players. This is their job, and if someone came to me and offered me and tripled my money, it's only figures that's been reported approximately, figures like £700,000 a week. I don't blame him for thinking about it. Like, you just don't blame him for thinking about it. The concerning thing is that there's also reports about Fabinho as well. So, whether one of them goes will remain to be seen. But if we lose two of them, then we're going to have to replace them. So it would be interesting.
True. What are your thoughts on this, Honest Con?
Well, I think that for the club to get the money, get some income back, some sale value on it, that's a good thing. But I'm talking worldwide. I think Liverpool, right, if we found this out today or yesterday, I think Liverpool would have known about this from last week. So I think Klopp would, as a business sense, would be prepared to have some replacements ready down. You know, not going to say he's going to get his targets, but I think I definitely I think sell Henderson, take the money, and with the other one, no, I just not to let both of them. One of them, I think Henderson. I prefer Henderson. Majority of people would say Henderson, and I agree that he can go for the money. I mean, I know there's some people, commentators, who has publicly said it's just wrong. It's wrong going to Saudi Arabia, but I'm sure if Saudi Arabia offered these commentators $250 a week to commentating on the football games, they would jump at it. You know, so it's football. It goes around. I think 1990 Japan done it. China's done it. Russia's done it. They come in with their money. Was it sustainable? No, it weren't. So it'd be interesting. Just be interesting what happens now. Be interesting what Liverpool do about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think I both agree with both you, and obviously Vinny's comments as well. That's generational wealth that's being built there as well. So regardless of the amount of revenue that these players already have, the investments that they already have, we have no idea what charities they're involved in. We don't know what foundations they're involved in as well. So as you said, it's football. Jordan Henderson, he's probably won everything he's won at Liverpool. Not saying that there's not more silverware for him to win, because I'm confident there will be. But as you said, every player at some stage moves on. Whether he's going to want to remain with us as part of the rebuild for Klopp, we'll probably wait and see. But if the news is accurate, what the media is saying, then we'll watch this space and see what happens in the next 48 hours. So
yeah. Well, listen, my son's just texted me and gone. Fabinho, Thiago, Hendo gone. So whether the things are being bandied about, I don't know. But this would be a pretty big that's three experienced, good, big players, experienced players. So
but as a business, and Thiago, he's on 200 grand a week. I mean, he had a lot of injuries and everything, and being his age and everything, I think it makes, as a business sense, makes good sense for Liverpool to let him go. Personally,
definitely. Well, we'll watch this space anyway. And as you said, if there's any breaking news while we are on Cop Talk TV, I'm sure one of our viewers will bring us up to date. So as you said, this week we'll be focusing on Liverpool's greatest left winger. Remind me and bring me up to date. So we've had a goalkeeper, and our choice was Ray Clements. We had our left back, I believe it was Robinson. We had our right back, was it Phil Neal in the end?
Yeah.
And then it's actually gone completely over my head. Who are our centre backs? Was it Alan Hansen plus
Mark Lawrenson? Or was it VVD? I can't remember. You know what? We should actually write this down. we rely on Artie because he's writing everything down, and I think it was Hansen and Lawrenson.
I think so. So we'll see. I know we were having a discussion about the way that the pairings actually play, whether someone was more of a sweeper, whether someone sat back, whether they were more offensive. So we got them there. Left side, did we agree? Right side? Was it Salah in the end?
Yeah.
Can you believe it was just last week? Listen,
ooh, I don't know.
Whoever's tuning into the show, please remind us who it was. Artie is on his private island in the Bahamas at the moment. So Artie, if you do have Wi-Fi on your private jet, just update us on what players you've actually chosen so far. So I've got a list of probably 9 or 10 players that have represented Liverpool on the left-hand side of midfield, right? So they're either going to be left midfielders or left wingers over the years, all right? Now, the purpose of the show is just for us to focus on the greatest, all right? So there's just going to be a few that we're going to name. Some may not even make your top 10, and I appreciate that, all right? So this is the first player for Liverpool. Who am I? All right. So this player has actually had 1, 2, 3 different stints at Liverpool. Bearing in mind, some of those were actually on loan as well. So who am I? I played for Aston Villa, Glasgow Rangers to Liverpool, Liverpool to Stoke, and then this player's gone out on loan to Stoke and come back to Liverpool. Once he's left Liverpool, he's gone to Wolverhampton Wanderers. The player's left Wolverhampton Wanderers and has also gone to Southampton. Who am I?
Wow.
This player.
I think I got it. Ricky Lambert.
We purchased this player. In 1991. Remember, it's a left midfielder.
Say it again, please. Say it again.
That's fine. So who am I? I was signed from Glasgow Rangers to Liverpool in 1991. Okay. In 1994, I stayed here for three years. In 1994, I went out on loan to Stoke.
Mark Waters.
There you go, Mr. Mark Waters. There you go. There you go.
If you didn't say 1991, I think we would be there all day.
That's what I was actually trying to think. Mr. Mark Waters. I do actually remember him actually playing for us. I'm not going to give the impression that I recall who was actually playing for us in 1990. That period.
1992, he had a big FA Cup in the final, didn't he?
God,
I can't even remember.
1992 against Sunderland. Yeah, he was very influential. I think he set up both goals.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, he's on our list because, as you said, he's a player on the left hand side. He didn't win.
Graham
right. So I wonder if that was a link from Glasgow Rangers.
It was.
Yeah, it was. That was
right. It. So I mean, even with that, he played for us for that period of time. As mentioned, he went out on loan a few times to Stoke. Unfortunately, he was a player that didn't actually win any silverware during his period of time here. I think he won a Super Cup elsewhere. Did he play for Villa?
He won the FA Cup at Liverpool.
Did he win the FA Cup for us?
Yeah, that's what I said to you. He was against Sunderland. I said he was very into in that game.
Well, there you go.
2-0. He won the FA Cup.
Would he make your top 10? He could almost be a forgotten person. Because even when I was thinking originally about left players that have represented the left-hand side, I don't think he actually turned many trees up really when he was there.
No, he didn't. I mean, he done well at Rangers, and hence soon as bringing him down from Rangers. And I think the notable thing I remember about Mark Waters is that someone chucked a banana skin at him when he was playing for Glasgow Rangers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that, obviously that was highlighted. He came to Liverpool, and it was spits and spurts. He had one game, good game here, another, and then it went 4, 5, 6 games, and then he might have had an assist coming off the. He wasn't an integral part of the team at any point during his time at Liverpool.
Yeah, he's more famous for his bootleg haircut of Cameo.
Oh my goodness,
that's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. As you said, I think he was with us. There's another player, another 2 left midfielders that were at the club when he was there, and I'm gonna mention these other midfielders afterwards. All right. So does would Mark Walters feature in our top 10?
No.
Honest
No,
Con?
no,
No?
no, no,
Okay.
no.
So we're gonna shelve Mark Walters to one side. There was another midfielder that was also in the squad at that time. Now he's not in my top 10. All right. It's just that I've now remembered. As soon as Honest Cons mentioned that Mark Walters was actually purchased from Rangers under Graham Souness. Do you remember we had oh my goodness. What was that
Don't come with
guy's
Jimmy
name?
Carter, please.
No. He doesn't make my top 10. Was it Rosenthal?
Ronnie
Ronnie
Rosenthal.
yeah.
Ronnie
So he played up
Rosenthal. Do you
front.
remember
The
Ronnie
Rocket.
Rosenthal?
Yeah, he missed that City against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
innit?
Ronnie Rosenthal.
Yeah,
Is that
He
the
was
one when
there.
he missed it in the 6-yard box?
Yeah, that's the one.
I remember Ronnie Rosenthal. I think he was either from Israel. I think he was from
Yeah, he was
Belgium.
from Israel. He was from Israel.
Israel.
Yeah.
Wow, I remember that. All right, so Mark Walters, does he make our top 10? Actually, I should say, because we're really thinking about who's going to be our greatest player. Is he even in a conversation?
No.
No. Okay. Sorry,
And Ronnie
Mark.
Rosenthal played up front.
Did he? But you also as a left winger as well, though, didn't he?
Well, no, he was up front, but he found himself on the left wing.
He's one of those dead. So was that where Henri got his style from? Then Henri was watching a early Ronnie Rosenthal.
Ronnie Rosenthal. Yeah, and then improved it significantly.
All right, so we've had that player. Mark Walters doesn't make our top 10. All right. Okay. So who am I? I played for Liverpool in 1978. I was signed to Liverpool. I left from Liverpool and went to Everton. And then from Everton, I went from Newcastle. And then from Newcastle, I went to Blackburn. All right. So who am I? I'm a left midfielder. Ireland international. Managed to play 46 caps for Ireland as well. So they said I was purchased in 1978. Any ideas? There's not many players that have actually played for Liverpool and Everton, by the way.
And
It's
he's
definitely not Peter
Irish.
Beardsley. He's Irish.
He's
Yeah.
Irish. That's the one that's throwing me.
Irish.
Yeah.
And
So should I go
Liverpool
back
bought
and try
him
1978?
And when did he leave?
He left in. He was purchased by Everton in 1992.
92.
Oh,
Yeah.
92.
Yeah.
He was there 78 and he went to 92.
Yeah.
Gary Ablett. No, Gary Ablett was English.
Yeah. No, it's not
You
Gary.
sure about the Irish thing?
No, it's not
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah.
It's not Ronnie Whelan.
No.
Ronnie Whelan.
It's not.
He didn't
Ronnie
play
Whelan
there.
came to Liverpool.
It's not Ronnie Whelan.
Well, Ronnie Whelan came to Liverpool 1981.
Can't be Ray Houghton.
Kevin Sheedy.
There you go. Kevin Sheedy.
Yeah.
Kevin Sheedy.
Yeah.
You.
That's an interesting one because
that is a very. You know what? I never knew that.
yeah, Kevin Sheedy. Now I do actually remember that name from my sticker books.
Yeah, I remember the name. Left-footed, left foot wand.
Yeah.
I remember Kevin Sheedy. Trust me, I remember him.
Yeah. Kevin Sheedy. He used to have a running style that was quite similar to Waddle as well. Kevin Sheedy did. To my records, I don't think he won any silverware at Liverpool when he was actually there. But anyway, it was Kevin Sheedy. I wouldn't say he made our top 10. Didn't make my top 10 anyway. But as I said, I was just thinking about left-sided players I've actually played for Liverpool. Do you have any record of him still playing Con? Any memories at all?
No, well, not for Liverpool because I was too young. But I mean, for Everton, I'm not more associated with playing for Everton. But he
Yeah.
didn't. He, no, where you said that 1992, he really because I remember him playing for Everton in the mid '80s and like Everton's '85 team.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember him more being associated with Everton
Everton. So
than
on that,
Liverpool.
yeah. So on that note, let's just move on.
All right, then. Sorry, Kevin, if you're watching the show. All right, so we're gonna start warming up here, right? And we're talking about players that are in our top 10.
That was very sneaky, Stoney. Very sneaky.
All right, listen. Now this player, I have a feeling was before our time. Okay, I just have a feeling. Who am I? I'm an attacking left winger. I was born in Townhill in Scotland. Okay. I didn't actually win any honours for Liverpool. I had 28 caps for Scotland. I played for Liverpool in he was born in he came to Liverpool. Let's say 1938.
I don't know that, Rav.
What's going on here? 1938. Hold a minute. Good evening, sir.
Am I in?
You're
Gentlemen,
in.
apologies.
No problem.
Red man time. Apologies.
No problem.
And
How are
it's
you,
no
sir?
apology.
Hold on, let me just turn up my
No
volume
apologies.
there.
You've been on strike as well a week.
Say that again. Sorry, I missed it.
You've been on strike all week while we've been working, so I understand. It's not like you've been even marking books.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Well, you say, gentlemen, boy, like a man popping champagne here, Henderson's going, yeah, boy, I've got a bottle on ice right now, you know, ice,
and
ready for
you know,
pop.
We're glad you mentioned that. It featured at the beginning of the show, but this is what we are going to do. Okay, we're going to make sure we no. We're going to make sure we spend at least 5 minutes to allow you to speak about any players that have been that have the potential on leaving Liverpool.
Yeah, sure.
Or,
okay.
Yeah. or any transfer rumors. So before the end of the show, so we're going to keep it to about an hour. We're going to dedicate that time for you. Okay.
Okay.
So yes,
left wingers aren't we today? Sorry.
Yes, we're looking at left wingers, left midfields. You know what I was going to ask you as well. I'm glad you jumped on. We were mentioning, so our goalkeeper was Ray Clements, correct?
Yeah.
Left back was Andy Robinson. Right back was Phil Neal. Who was our centre backs? Can you remember?
Yeah, it was Hansen and Lawrenson.
Told you.
Preds, you were correct, man. Brownie points this straight away.
You know what? I'm starting to write this down right now. You know?
I know. We're gonna need to.
yeah. Because I think Lawrenson was third, right? And then it just made sense that as they were the partnership, it just made sense for that to be the centre back partnership.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So this player that we were speaking about, players that we've spoken about really briefly on the left hand side, and there's been a discussion whether they make it in our top 10. They clearly haven't. One was Mark Waters, and one was Kevin Speedy. All right. So
agreed. Nothing more to add.
Definitely not. This other person, as he said, was before our time, but we're speaking about the top 10. Who am I? Scottish international. I was born in Townhill in Scotland. In Scotland, left winger, left forward. I mean, I think it was a bit before our time, though. His initials are BL.
Oh, you know what? I watched Liddell.
Billy Liddell.
Yeah.
Billy Liddell.
Yeah.
I watched. You know what? Funny enough, right? I was watching NFC TV, and they do like the memories of players and everything. And
Yeah.
I sat and I watched, and it was Billy Liddell who came up. So it's very funny that he's part of the conversation tonight. Brilliant.
Yeah, Billy Liddell. I mean, for me, I'm being honest. Thank you very much for tuning in on this edition show, Mr. Across the Pond Sports Talk. You were correct there, sir. Try to do a bit of research, and similar to you as well, Preds, when you do look on LFC, this gentleman features a lot, all in black and white. I'm not going to give the impression that I was born at that time or I know enough about this gentleman. But as I said, I think what I'm going to have to do after the show is actually jump on and do my own research so I can find out a little bit more about this person. So I do apologize. Billy Little does feature. I know very little about him, so I'm unsure whether he would actually feature in our top 10. If anybody that's tuned into the show can provide us with some more knowledge on this person, then I'll welcome that. All right. We're just going to move on from Billy Little. Little. I'm going to get warmed up now. Okay.
You know what? You know what? I'll just tell you. Like he's actually like like if you go back in years, he's an actual icon. He's not a thing. He's an icon. He was a winger. He was a top scorer. I think he's fourth highest goal scorer of all time.
I was going to say that he's got some record, right? It's like appearances or goals or.
Yeah, I'm just like I've read up. I watched it on the other night, but I've literally I'm gonna use Google. I've used Google. I'll admit it, but I'm just doing it because it's quite funny that he popped up today, and it said it was a sort of record. Oh, there we go. In 8 out of 9 seasons between 1949 and 1950 and 1957 to 58, Billy Liddell was Liverpool's top goal scorer.
Right.
Wow.
So
8 out of 9 seasons.
Wow. So would we be doing an injustice not actually having him in our top 10?
Absolutely.
I agree. Right. I agree with that.
Okay, so we have to mind our manners now and make sure that he's actually in our top 10, yeah?
Mate, he's the fourth all-time goal scorer of 228 goals. I'm just reading there. Like you got those. Yeah, man, he's got to be in the mix. I'm just reading from what I'm looking at, and from what I heard as well on TV. Like this dude back in his time he was the, if you like, first type of Salah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Superstar in his era, and that superstar.
So what we're gonna have to do is
that's the word. Yeah.
Billy Liddell is already in our top 10. Then you have to make sure we put him in there, and we have to make sure we have manners. Yeah. Right. So before I go into the next, who am I? Across the Pond is actually mentioned something here. So he's mentioned you had Steve Highway last week, right forward mids, but they say he was a left forward too. And you are correct in saying that. I think what we've mentioned on the show is, and this we have to bear this in mind. Remember years ago, when there was literally only one sub you were able to have, and when the players you had literally played enough every single game in the season, what it also meant is that a lot, and we're just primarily speaking about Liverpool, okay? We would have found out that our players were able to play in a series of positions. So you are correct about Steve Highway with him playing lots of positions, but the main thing was he didn't feature over that side. So you are correct on saying that across the pond, but we were really focused on the position where he played the majority of the time, and that's the only reason why he didn't finish featuring the our top 10 in the end. But he did feature, and we had good conversations there, didn't we?
Yeah, so, but I tell you what, I'm going to be devil's advocate. I think Across the Pond's kind of got a point. I think he played both positions, and he was quite successful in both positions. And
that's
incidentally, watching on TV the other day about Steve Highway as well, when it's like, okay,
that's what I'm saying.
All of his attacks came from the left hand side. So it's very
valid
interesting.
point. Valid point, Steve Highway. Okay, so before we move on to the next person, Good evening, Mr. RT.
From
Communicate.
Sunshine.
I told you to have Wi-Fi on that private jet. Good evening, RT. Yeah, I told you.
He's got the works, isn't it? Wi-Fi, 5G, Wi-Fi,
He's
everything.
he's got everything on there, man. He's got one of those glasses where he's got like not square ice cubes, you know, the one where all of the ice cubes are round and
Round
all of those. That's what I'm saying.
on the rocks as well.
I'm
Like, yeah.
telling you. Good evening and thanks for tuning in, RT. Okay, so who am I? I played for Liverpool I played for Liverpool in 1994. I was purchased from a team called Home Farm. When I left Liverpool, I went to Southend United. Okay. I played for Ireland and I represented them 94 times, 54 times. All right. While I was at Liverpool, I won the European Champions Club Winners' Cup. I actually won six league titles for Liverpool. I won 3 FA Cups, 3 Milk Cups, and 3 Super Cups. Who am I?
In 94.
94. That can't be correct. If he's come in 94 and he's won 6 league.
No, sorry. I do apologize. Hold on.
Artie,
I got the year wrong.
listen,
It happens, man. Don't worry, man.
Artie,
Don't worry.
listen. No, I'm not having
This
it.
is
Deeks. I'm
RT's
not having
paper.
it.
This is RT's paperwork that he's actually
See?
giving me, you know.
You see, he says, he's writing. That's why.
Yeah, it is.
So go on
So
then. What
sorry.
year?
I do apologize. I got the years wrong. We're looking at the mid 80s, all right? So we're looking
Okay.
from 82 to 1990. He was at Liverpool, all right? So I've won six leagues. I've won 3 FA Cups, 5 English Super Cups, and 3 Milk Cups. And I've also represented my country for Ireland 54 times. Who am I?
Can't be Ray Houghton.
Not on the left.
Yeah.
Unless he's done Ray Houghton for the left.
No, I don't think it'd be Ray Houghton. Ray Houghton predominantly played on the right, which is the reason why I said last week
Yeah.
I can't believe Artie left him out.
It wouldn't be Staunton. He was left back, but when did Staunton sign?
Staunton was left now, but Staunton. But he's from Home Farm. That sounds familiar. It's Ronnie Whelan.
Ronnie Whelan.
It's Ronnie Whelan.
It's
Nah,
Ronnie Whelan.
Nah, Whelan has to be a midfielder. Has to be a midfielder for me.
Ronnie Whelan,
Has
man.
to be part of the centre mids. Has to be.
You know what though? I get it, right? I get it because I've been doing my research, people.
Ronnie Whelan.
I watched the 1983 FA Cup final against Manchester United last night. Right? And we played a 4-4-2. And you know who's on the left side? Ronnie Whelan.
Whelan, yeah. We had the discussion, I think, before we had actually started doing the greatest players in each position. Ronnie Whelan came up in a conversation as well. And I think it was the same thing, similar to what Across the Pond just mentioned earlier about Steve Highway. We had players that were so versatile and able to play in lots of different positions. I think for Ireland, he actually played centre midfield the majority of these games. It wasn't even actually on left midfield as well. But if you're looking at somebody who's, as you said, won 6 league titles for Liverpool, that's no mean feast, you know. That's a very, very, very nice record. Anybody have any recollection of this player?
Whelan was my guy still. I can't lie. Watched him a lot. I still think he has to go into the centre mids category in a sense that, yes, he may have played from the left on occasion, but he played from the left as a centre midfielder would play. Why did that make sense? He wasn't playing like what a winger would play. So it's almost like when they're moving a centre mid wide, and obviously we didn't always play what would consider to be a wide 4-4-2. Sometimes the wide players kind of tucked in, they came in the field. So for me, I feel Whelan has to be like in a centre midfield category because it's so it's like Steven Gerrard, for example. He played a season more as a right midfielder,
That's
but we
correct.
wouldn't put him in that category, if you see what I'm saying.
So let's think about the adjudication. We're going to put this out to everybody that's that's tuned into the show and also on the panel. Dr. Blake has presented quite articulately why there's a possibility that while Ronnie Whelan has been an amazing player playing for us, he's obviously shown he's versatile playing in these positions. Is Ronnie Whelan to remain as the left midfielder, or do we place him into the category for next week's show and the week after as a central midfielder? What are your thoughts, gents?
Con, after you.
I think I'm going through him as a left midfielder. He did play there. It's not like a one-off game. He must have played, I would say, in his whole career, he must have played over 50 games there. So I'm having him there. Liverpool's got enough. So,
wait, hold on. Con's on, yeah? I didn't even realise. Obviously, I can't see the camera. What? Go on, Mike Brethren.
Easy.
I didn't even realise it was Con on there.
Right,
What's going on, man?
Yeah.
This is how we do it on Cock Talk.
All right,
We
all right,
keep
Mr.
it
Teacher.
real.
So
Boy, I'd
what
like to be in your class.
we
Just
can
sneak
actually
in.
Apologies. Late one. Pressure, at the moment. Pressure.
what we could probably do with this Ronnie Whelan then, all right? As you said, because he's so versatile, I'm more than happy giving Ronnie Whelan a pass, even though he played well for Liverpool. What we can do, we can add him into the conversation for next week's show and the week after. Preds, what are your thoughts?
Look,
Because you know what's going to happen
I'm on the
when we
fence
start
here, right? Yeah.
when we start speaking about those central midfielders. That's why we have to do it in a two-part show.
I know. But listen, I can see where Teacher's coming from, and I can see where
Same.
Con's coming from. Like I can see where you both, because I think he came to Liverpool quite in the 80s, didn't he? And he was in a team, that was, particularly quite good. But he was young and there was experience, and he learned his trade as a left winger. And it was very interesting to hear that when they were previewing this one FA Cup game against Man United in '83, it was Ronnie Whelan who was in the studio talking about it. And Ronnie Whelan actually said in his early part of the career, he played a lot of games on the left-hand side, and his role was just to go and intercept. And he just came inside, and you had Ray Kennedy on the outside, or whoever the left back was on the outside. They were the ones who were bombing on. And I got to be honest, watching that game yesterday, and it was probably the first time I can see our philosophy, to the present day. I can see it. Like our fullbacks gone. Like
Midfield.
we got midfield, and our midfield are inverted. We had one striker, like we had, you had two strikers as well. You had one busy one, and you had one just a sniffer. But you can see the rotations and everything that Liverpool were doing, even back in '83. They replicate what we do now. And as Ronnie Whelan got older and more mature, to the point of Kenny Dalglish's first championship, Ronnie Whelan, he said, I played in centre midfield because I had to go and look after the gaffer. Because he was the tackler. He was the one who went around and disrupting teams' flow and X, Y, and Z. So I think he deserves to be in both conversations. But we know that we're going to be talking about other players as well. But I think Ronnie Whelan definitely be on my left side. He will definitely be in my top 10.
Yeah. Okay. So all we'll do, we'll keep him in the conversation, but I think we can also bring him back up when we speak about our midfielders next week and a week after, if that's okay. Yeah. The next player I was actually going to say, who am I? Preds has already mentioned. So Mr. Ray Kennedy has to be in the conversation once again. He occupied that left-hand side just really before Ronnie Whelan came to Liverpool and occupied that time. So if you're speaking about honours as well, Ray Ray Kennedy basically won it all as well. The same thing. Six leagues for us, 3 European Cups. You won a Super Cup with us, UEFA Cup, 4 Super Cups with us, and then he had some silver when he went to Arsenal, but we don't really need to speak about that, do we? But
No.
but Ray Kennedy has to be in the conversation here. What are your thoughts?
Teach after you, sir.
You're looking at somebody who basically was near enough winning back to back leagues with Liverpool. So I mean, there's a lot of younger viewers here. You have to probably think about Liverpool basically ran the 70s and ran the 80s, and it's not me just saying it because we're on Cop Talk. If for anybody who's young out there and think football only started with FIFA or with the Premier League, then I'm sorry to disappoint you, because it didn't. But Ray Kennedy, I know he's no longer with us, but I believe he's in my top 3.
Au revoir across the pond. Au revoir. Yeah, man, this guy is like, again, we're talking about icons, isn't it? And we're talking about icons in different eras of the eras. And in his era, he definitely is an icon. Like the goals that he scored, the performances that he provided, and real big goals as well. And I think it was like his left side was. To be fair, I think he done both roles, didn't he? He played left back, and he done the running of a winger, and everything like that. So Ray Kennedy, top player, and yeah, definitely in the top 3.
Excellent. Good evening, Mr. Tabrice. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Eating. We can't see him, but we can hear him.
He's going to join us in a few minutes. So when you're ready, just join in, sir. Okay. We were just speaking about Ray Kennedy, and have we agreed that he features in our top 10?
Yeah. Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like I'd say for me, definitely top 10.
Okay.
Arguably, probably top 5. Like, you got some players who are just very good all-round players in terms of just that all-round, just what you want in it: physicality, hard work, touch, pace, power. Maybe not a 9 for anything, but like a 7 across the board kind of thing.
Okay.
And I guess guys who are brilliant in teams, if you know what I mean. So probably, maybe not the most outstanding individual, but then a brilliant team man. So, yeah,
so
I'd say
he's in your conversation for us, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, nice. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I've got a few more plays, and what I'm going to do, these plays apart bar one, the next 4 players are more recent. So for some of our younger viewers, hopefully you'll be able to join in and get involved in his conversation. All right, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Who am I? I played on the left wing, attacking mid, and second striker for Liverpool. My birthplace is Smithfield, Sydney.
Craig Johnson.
Craig Johnson.
I played at Leeds.
Harry Q.
Oh,
Harry Q.
There you go.
Leeds, Harry Q.
I played for Leeds before I was purchased for Liverpool, and then after Liverpool, I moved on to Galatasaray. So, Mr. Harry Q, discuss.
For me, the most.
He was.
Yeah, go on, Con.
To me, he was woeful as a Liverpool player. He didn't do nothing. He just picked up a paycheck, and that was it. I mean, I can't remember him actually doing absolutely anything. Liverpool bought him, and he was just woeful, wasn't he?
Scored a great. Was it like an outside of the foot chip against someone? Was it Everton? He scored a quality kind of
maybe
outside
that's
of the
it, but he was just woeful. He was just woeful.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Bad buy. We bought him at the wrong time. Same like when we bought Joe Cole. It was just bad. The
Yeah.
idea seemed good. And no one, when we bought Harry Kewell, no one said that was a bad buy. It was just exciting. And then afterwards, it just went really. He just lost form and everything like that, and he just dropped out of the football, didn't he? And well, he ended up on loan and things like that. So Harry Kewell's that's the
Yeah. I'd say for me, Harry
when we
Kewell's
make top.
probably been the
Then,
most disappointing Liverpool signing that I can think of in terms of the expectation and excitement that I had, and then just what he became as a player. Because at one point, stupidly, clearly, I would have argued to anyone that he would say better than Giggs, for example. And I thought he was tremendous at Leeds, and then when we got him, I was just like, bruv, you're taking the mick out of us. Yeah, I'm with Con. I'm with Con on that one. Where Harry
You know
Kewell
what?
can't even see a top 20.
You know
Okay.
what? I can't believe, right? I still can't believe to this day why Rafa Benitez chose him to start in the Champions League final when he hadn't kicked a ball in months
And hadn't been good either.
and hadn't been good. Injury, he like his time at Liverpool was blighted with injury. Okay, and we never got the Harry Kewell that we saw excite the Premiership at Leeds, and Leeds had a good team at that time. But
Yeah,
when
you
he came
forget he
to,
played in Champions League final, didn't he? Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
Yeah.
yeah, and he lasted literally didn't even last 10 minutes.
No.
Didn't even last 10 minutes, and I was
he made
confused why he was
he
there.
made he made Lukaku look like Pele in the Champions League final. I mean, he was woeful in that Champions League final. Woeful.
Yeah, he came
And he
off
had
with
the
it like
audacity
within
to go and pick
five.
up a Champions League.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, he was a biggest underachiever. Granted, he had injuries, but yeah, he wouldn't be in my top 10.
No.
No.
Okay. So sorry, Harry Kewell, if you're watching the show. I think the panel have agreed that you're not in the conversation. So you don't feature in our top 10. So at the moment, we've got two provisional players that are featuring in our top 5 and a possible third. So at the moment, we've got Billy Liddell and we've got Ray Kennedy. Okay. So this next player, who am I? Left winger playing for Liverpool. My birthplace is in Rio de Janeiro. I was purchased.
Brazil.
I played for Inter Milan before being signed to Liverpool. One of the record fees that was actually purchased. He left and went to Barcelona.
Oh, Coutinho, my guy. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Harry Potter.
Philippe Coutinho. I mean, listen, at one stage, he was absolutely unstoppable for Liverpool. Absolutely unstoppable. Discuss, gents. Does he make it within our top 10? And
You know
why?
what? You know what? Let me just go first because I want to get this frustration out of Ruth. I I'm still, when sometimes there's certain players that when they leave, like you're kind of like, bruv, what are you leaving for? Like, what are you doing? Where are you going? I'm disappointed in you. You know what I mean? I'm disappointed, and I'm still disappointed because everything about at the time when he was at Liverpool, he could have that team could have been set around Coutinho, and Coutinho could have been part of the squad that the last 5 seasons torn up trees. Now I know Barcelona came calling, but I just haven't forgiven him yet. In a nutshell, I haven't forgiven him yet. So while you lot talk, I'm going to sit back and ponder and think: does he really deserve forgiveness?
Okay. So
Wow.
I'll leave it over to you then, Dr. Blake. Your guy,
Yes. So
Coutinho.
yeah,
Elaborate on us for a sec.
listen, Coutinho is easily my favorite Liverpool player of the Premier League era. absolutely love the guy. Not to say that I think he's been the best player, but I guess my favorite. Absolute magician. When he came to us, great foresight by that. So actually, it's interesting, right? Because he was probably one of the first signings to indicate how impressive our transfer committee would become. You think about like Coutinho, Sturridge, those really talented players with like lesser value, but then would obviously then uh become like top talents. Yeah, it's an incredibly talented player. What can you say, from the dribbling to the feints to the flair, the absolute rocket shot? How a player of that weight, of that size, is lashing the ball from 30, 35, 40 yards. And yeah, for me, if it's, I guess he probably did play a lot of games for us from the left. Would I call him a left winger? Probably not, but he did play from the left, so I guess he would have to be included in that. And I guess probably how I make sense of it from a pragmatic perspective is his signing enabled us. I mean, sorry, us selling him that enabled us to sign Van Dijk and Allison. So although he left under a cloud, what he then gave us was then a blessing. So for me, Coutinho is easily top three. I'm just gonna say he's my number one from now. To be fair, I'm joking. But nah, he's top three for me.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Come on.
And that's what I was saying as well, Dr. Blake. The key thing that I was mentioning, even though our thumbnail is picking Liverpool's greatest left winger, because the formations and the way in which we've changed over the years has changed.
Yeah,
It was more about players that have actually played on the left hand side and has
100.
graced that position for us. So
100.
yeah, thanks for being so articulate about Coutinho as well. And I think you're right. What I did love about him as well, set piece specialist. He could actually break the lines by himself as well. If there was over the last few years, we had an issue where teams were playing a low block. He was while he was still with us, he was able to lock and unlock all of that systems if people were doing. I mean, goodness gracious. Woo, yeah. He was like a forwards dream as well in terms of picking
Baller.
passes out. He was in a cusp of greatness.
Yeah.
But hey, so Preds, I'm just gonna hand it back over to you before I go to Con. Or should I go to Honest Con first before coming back to you so you can have a last word?
Let's see what Con's got to say.
About Coutinho,
Yeah.
I personally think that he was a very good player, but he's very inconsistent away games. Away from Anfield, he was very inconsistent. His set pieces were good. He was good at Anfield when Liverpool were at home, but playing away, I don't think he was all that, and I think he got found out in Barcelona. Really,
Preds, you can
did you
have the
think
last
how
word
the
on this
mighty?
then.
Listen, I agree with what Blake is saying about his, like, when Blake was like telling us, how fondly he thinks of Coutinho. In my mind, I could think back of all the magnificent little flicks and runs and dribbles. But then, quite rightly, Con said, like, away from home, he was found wanting a little bit. But I've just got fond memories of him, and I just felt like you said, you just described it really perfectly, Stoney. He was on the cusp, like, he was like, I think Klopp wanted him there, and I think we wanted him there, and he, imagine Coutinho in respect to, well, like again, I just thought we was on the cusp, and I just devastated that he left, and I haven't got over it yet. And
Let's be honest about. Sorry.
No, it's right. I just still haven't got over it. I forgive him because he's got to go. Football players, they've got a job to do. And I can see that the Barcelona is a very enticing option. But I just felt the project at Liverpool was just revving up, and I think that like you said, we wouldn't have got VVD or Becker as well. So yeah, I think he's in my top 5.
Okay, can I just quickly add on to this? Right, his win ratio for Liverpool is only 50%. No.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't playing by himself though, Con.
Yeah, but some of
things
he was doing, some of the flicks and the runs and the free kicks,
and great work ethic as well. Like his pressing really improved. He's a hard worker, and let's not forget that last-minute winner against Man City when we should have won the title under Brendan Rodgers as well. Like he's stepped up, man. He stepped up because realistically, that should have been the title-deciding goal.
Oh
no, I'm glad it weren't. I'm glad it didn't happen.
I wasn't glad at the time, but I tell you what, mate.
No, I'm glad. No, hey, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why I'm glad it didn't happen. Because Liverpool won the league then. We wouldn't have Klopp now because Liverpool would have gave Brendan Rodgers more of a chance when they wouldn't have sacked him. So I think Liverpool would have gave him more of a chance. So our history would have been totally changed. So when I think at the time, I weren't thinking it, but when I think now, I'm sort of like happy the way it panned out because Brendan Rodgers we maybe have missed Klopp as a manager altogether. Sliding doors.
I think also as well, if I'm being honest, although the team from an attacking, and I guess what's hard to judge this on is the sense that we never had Van Dijk, and so we never had Van Dijk, Fabinho, and Alisson with Coutinho in the side. But I guess a part of me almost thinks when we kind of reached that peak when we won the Champions League and then the league the following season, I think realistically, although we were obviously brilliant going forward, we were so strong defensively. And I wonder if we had Coutinho in the midfield, would we have got that perfect balance? As much as I love the player, but I almost feel the more workmanlike midfield for that couple of years was probably the reason why we were so good. So definitely from a squad perspective, having that player in the team, but I do wonder if actually we would have been as all round if we had kept him.
Well, if we would have kept him, you got to think in that structure, where would you have put him?
Yeah, because I guess in that last half season, he was playing in the midfield three, right on the left-hand side, weren't he? Because it was Mane, what was it? Yeah, it was Mane, Bobby, Mo, and then Hendo holding, and then who was next to him in midfield?
Ronaldo, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So it'd have been what Hendo, Ronaldo, and then Coutinho. Obviously, had him over like a number 10 kind of, I guess, on the ball role, but then in defensive positions, was then obviously then having to tuck into midfield. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. Top player though.
So are we're going to leave a question mark?
Nah, man.
Coutinho wasn't good enough. I don't know if you
guys can hear me. Two, man. The man's top two, man.
So at the moment in the conversation, we've got Coutinho, we've got Billy Liddell, and we've got Ray Kennedy in the conversation. Yeah. Okay, so we've got three more players, and then we're going to decide who's going to be Liverpool's greatest left winger. Okay, who am I? I was born in Kingston, Jamaica.
Johnny Barnesy made me proud to be black.
I was purchased from QPR under 18s.
No.
Jeez.
I was purchased from QPR under 18s.
That's wrong. He didn't. He went to go for a trial at QPR, but couldn't find it. He was purchased from Watford.
While I was at Liverpool, I won no honours. When I left Liverpool, I was purchased by Man City. Who am I?
Oh, Gailey.
No, Sterling.
Shit.
Raheem the Dream.
It's funny, isn't it? Like when you hear Jamaica and you think Barnes, isn't it?
Sorry, I peaked.
Shot your load.
I
should read the script a little bit more carefully.
So this is another player that had quite a short period of time with us. Another impact player, probably similar to Coutinho. When he was playing, I think he was a curtain raiser as well. Did he leave Liverpool too early? Was the timing right? What are your thoughts on Raheem Sterling?
I'll go first on this. I think that when Liverpool finished second in the league and just missed out by a point with Man City, if Liverpool really wanted him, they should have made him sign a contract in January. They waited till when he went to the World Cup, and then they're saying we're offering you a deal. The deal wasn't great. That's what he was advised, and he didn't want to sign for Liverpool. I think Liverpool messed up there. Really, if you really wanted the man, you should have signed him from the January, not let him go to the World Cup and then saying he's greedy for money and everything like that. And I think when he went to Man City, it did shock me. Really, he upped his game. Amount of goals he scored and everything. Even like not last season, the season before, when Liverpool, remember Aston Villa was 2-0 down.
Yeah.
2-0 up, and he I think he's up with the 3 goals. I mean, he really upped his level. He really shocked me when he left Liverpool to Man City. I just thought, oh, this is. I just thought, okay, but he shocked me what he done at Man City as well, and he was starting. So, yeah, I think he deserves to be in the top 6.
Nice. Fred,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Dr.
Oh,
Blake.
sorry. Yeah, no, I was going to say I agree with Con. Again, I very much see it as the systems at the club not being up to scratch, in the sense of you had Brendan Rodgers talking about hunger in young players, and I can't give them big contracts X, Y, Z. So this is why Sterling's on like a lower wage. And I'm thinking to myself, what nonsense are you talking about? The man's life story is about dad being killed in Jamaica, having to have breakfast by vending machines while his mum's at work, and then going to school. This man ain't gonna suddenly get a big wage and lose that hunger. Like, this is the kind of guy that you want to build a club based on his talent. So yeah, between Brendan Rodgers' arrogance and our club systems not being set up properly, definitely on us as to why we let him go. The way the club then did that smear campaign to almost make him seem greedy was just slightly embarrassing, really. And also, as well, I think the way the media characterized his style of play also embarrassing. Very much that lazy stereotype around black fast players, poor decision making, etc., etc., etc. Whereas Sterling is one of the most tactically intelligent players in the game currently. No surprise that for 4 or 5 years under Pep Guardiola, he played in every big game, a number of roles. Under Brendan Rodgers, he was 5'7". He played false 9. He played wing back. He played left wing. Played right wing. A very, very intelligent player. The one issue he had was simply a technical issue regarding the way he struck the ball. And once he improved on his ball striking, he then started to get more goals and assists. But his decision making, tactical understanding of the game was always top notch, in my opinion. I think he's a top player.
And that was also replicated with him playing for the national team as well, because Southgate had as much confidence and faith, and his numbers internationally speak for themselves as well.
Top boy.
Preds, your thoughts?
You know what? That was a moment where it was really disappointing to see Liverpool let go of Raheem Sterling. And do you remember that there was a documentary that Liverpool took part in, where it was at Brendan Rodgers' era, and then there was a bit in the pre-season where he felt that Raheem Sterling disrespected him.
And yes, and he said to him, what did you say? Oh, I'll send you back home. On the plane and talk to him like that in front of the media. I thought, you arsehole.
What an absolute... And that's when I lost respect toward Brendan Rodgers. Like, you treating a young lad who's, coming to the Liverpool squad, and he's done ever so well. Raw, but you see that he's got potential. And I can't believe the powers that be must have said, right, Rodgers, are you sure are you sure? Are you smoking something, bruv? Like, we should be signing this lad up, 5-year contract, right? Because this lad is going to be our future. And fair play, Pep has made, I've got to be honest, Pep has probably made him a better player than what he would have been at Liverpool. It's facts. Like, in regards to his intelligence, his tactical astuteness, he got end product. and he's dangerous. Look in the World Cup, like for England, like he was, you know what I mean? He was single-handedly pulling England through, and still didn't get the recognition that he deserved. So, yeah, he'll be up there for us. It was just unfortunate that his time at Liverpool was so short.
So does he make our top 3?
Probably not top 3.
Agreed.
But it'll be in. I would say that the lad deserves to be in the top 10, but not in the top 3.
Okay, all right. So 2 more players to go. Okay, who am I? I was born in Senegal.
Mane.
Is that obvious, isn't it? What can we say?
What can we
What a
say?
man.
What
What a
a
man.
man! What a player! What a absolute legend!
What a right hook.
Right hook as well, yeah. But that wasn't the time. That wasn't at his time at
No.
Liverpool, yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, we saw him like he pulled our pants down when he played against us for Southampton. And then, it's one of those where you think, oh no, we're going to get another player who's played well against us. What's going to happen? He's going to come to us and he's going to just, mate, this guy just got better and better. And all plaudits, all plaudits to Klopp as well. Klopp has developed him into becoming one of the most dangerous inside forwards the game's ever produced. Like, he was dangerous. And if you see some of his, I remember some of his highlights. And the one that won the goal against Bayern Munich.
Dangerous.
And that's just naming one of how many. So yeah, this guy, it's good. Yeah, we're gonna have to put my thinking cap on for this one. It's a difficult one. In a positive way, in a good way. It's like, where do you put him in the top 3? Maybe, I don't know.
It's a hard one. Thoughts on his on Sadio Mane?
Just like what Press said, he was just something else. His work rate, gutted that he left. Even last, I'd prefer Mo went than him. I know that's sort of mad with Mo's stats, but he was something else. And yeah, I'm glad. I'm just ashamed that he the way he left. It was a shame, but great player, great. Enjoy to watch it.
Dr. Blake, your thoughts? Does he make our top 3?
Yeah, it has to. For me, another example of how good our transfer committee was, because I guess the story goes that Klopp wanted Mario Götze, and the transfer committee that said to him, actually, there's this guy called Sadio Mane who his stats for what we want as a pressing team will be, I guess, top notch, like a great fit. And obviously Klopp then agreed to it. And I tell you what, so I was in St. Lucia, and obviously they're 5 hours behind. And then my uncle, I was staying with, he's an Arsenal fan. So we was watching the first game of the season, Liverpool versus Arsenal. And I remember thinking to myself, what a debut. And that would go on to be to symbolize Mane, high quality in clutch moments. What a goal on your debut. I can't think of another goal on a player's debut against a top team that I can think is comparable. I just think he was just the absolute complete forward. I think the best attribute, I think the best thing you could say about Mane is almost is he a greater player or is he like a greater person? Absolutely robbed by the biasness of the English media when Henderson got Player of the Year. I get that the argument for whether he's against Henderson is for what he done off the pitch, but for what Mane did on the pitch in that period of time, where obviously the goal against Bayern Munich, our absolute clutch player, as he won the Champions League final, clutch into the season, those last minute goals against Leicester, absolute our main player when we won the league title, in my opinion. And I just think, if Henderson got the award for what he was doing off the pitch. So it seems like building hospitals, petrol stations, schools in your home country doesn't count as, I guess, kind of off the pitch merit. So yeah, for me, Sadio Mane, an absolute legend, and in my opinion, the most important signing of the Klopp era.
Perfect. Well said as well. Deeply appreciate that. So, does he feature in our top 3, gentlemen?
Has to.
Has to.
Okay. So at the moment in the conversation, we've got Coutinho, we've got Mane, we've got Billy Liddell, and we've got Ray Kennedy. Okay. I know sometimes we have shows and there's conversations about players that should be within the top 3. There's only one last player for me to have the conversation with, and I would like to think it's quite obvious who this gentleman is. Would anybody like to say who this person is? The last person?
Go on, Prez. Bring out the picture again, Prez. Go on, Prez. Bring out the picture.
There you go.
There
you go. There
Says
you go.
it.
Can't believe the wife got in the picture, and she's a bloody Arsenal fan.
Mr. John Charles Brian Barnes. What can we say?
Johnny Barnesy made me proud to be black. Woo!
We could probably have a whole show really on John Barnes really here as well. I think in terms of grace, in terms of elegance, in terms of grace, moving past plays, in terms of assists before people are actually speaking about assists, and in terms of being clinical in front of goal. His transition from Watford to us was amazing as well. Same thing with Sadio Mane, revered by the crowd, a curtain raiser, and someone who has literally gone down in the history books at Liverpool. So for me, even though I'm not going to be judging for this show, if Artie was hosting a show, I would say that John Barnes would definitely be in the conversation for me. I hand it over to you guys, and what are your thoughts?
Well, John Barnes is ultimately part of my childhood in regards to, I supported Liverpool, all right, but my support and thing intensified because obviously I can associate myself with them because of John Barnes played, and obviously he was the only black player that played for Liverpool at the time, and it was a role model kind of thing in regards to, if you are black, you can play at the top level for the top teams, and it was achievable, and that was the role model that a lot of players used. But going on to his football and ability, wow. Some of his footwork, some of his dribbling, the goal against Aston Villa when he skipped right in the middle, like done a little 1-2 of himself and then scored. The one that he comes across QPR, he comes in and there's so many goals that John Barnes scored. And as he got older as well, when the Spice Boys era was there, he was in the mix as well, but he was still putting balls through. He couldn't move, but he's putting balls through, and mate, his football intelligence is renowned. And I could, like you say, I'm kind of not running out of things to say. I want to say so much. I'm aware of the time, so I'm just going to say that for me, I'll put it out there right now. I know we've spoken about some really great players, but John Barnes is my number one, without doubt.
I'll hand it over to you, Honest Con. What were your thoughts on Mr. Brian?
Prez said it all, really. The guy was just so uplifting. He was just like, and when he was always on the ball, you always felt that we was going to win. Just with the ball at his feet, you just always felt that we was going to win. And the memories of John Barnes,
Remember that? Sorry, remember that goal. Remember the goal where he playing at Anfield against Nottingham Forest, and the ball's trickling out towards the side. He gets the ball. He then fronts up the fullback. He then nuts the fullback, drives into the box. He looks like he's going to pass it into the near post. He then does a square ball back to Peter Beardsley, and Peter Beardsley then scores a goal. And I can just remember seeing and this is so long ago. I remember seeing Stuart Pearce just go on his knees and just like that because he just knew. Like John Barnes is just magical. Sorry, Blake, you go on, mate.
No.
The only other thing I would like to say about him, it's a shame that he never got to play like with Liverpool band in Europe. That he never really got to play more Europe in European Cups competitions. Really, that's a shame.
Travesty.
But what a player! Sorry, Dr. Blake.
No.
Sorry.
Con, no, I was going to make the same point. To be fair, I think it's actually a travesty that the Heysel ban came at the time it did for his career, because I guess we didn't necessarily see him win the European Cups. And if you think about that team of the late '80s with him and Dalglish and Houghton and not Dalglish, sorry, Beardsley, Houghton, and that team would have won at least one European Cup.
At least.
I think every now and then there's a player in the league who is head and shoulders above all of the other players in the league. Some fans might say that Thierry Henry looked like that when he was at his pomp. And I think out of all the players we've said so far, as good as they were, I think with John Barnes, he was just on a different level to every other player in the league at that point in time. And when you think about how good he was, realistically, in my opinion, I would say only Maradona would have been better than him in the world at that point in time. I thought he was that good. And the English league was a very competitive league at that point in time as well. And I just think obviously because of the England issue, and there's numerous reasons as to why that didn't work out as it should have. And then obviously us not playing in Europe, maybe he doesn't get the international renown that potentially he should do. But I just think what a player. And I think arguably, if we're talking about Liverpool's pound for pound best players, I think he's probably top 3, top 2 even like for that as well. I think serious guy.
Perfect. Okay, so we've gone through a series of players that have representing Liverpool on the left hand side. They've been left midfielders and they've been left wingers. All right. So the purpose of this show was to find out Liverpool's greatest left winger. In the conversation, we had Ray Kennedy, we had Ronnie Wheeland, we had Billy Liddell, we had Mane, we had Coutinho, and we had John Barnes. Preds, would you like to tell me who your top 3 are, please?
Yeah, I'm going to go Ray Kennedy number 3, Mane number 2, and John Barnes number 1.
Okay. Honest Con, could you tell me who your top 3 are, please?
Ray Kennedy number 3, number 2 Mane, John Barnes number 1.
Okay. And Dr. Blake, if you can tell me who your top 3 are, please.
Clean sweep. Same again. Kennedy, Mane, Barnes.
Okay, perfect. So I think we have a unanimous number 1. So for this week's show, with us picking Liverpool's greatest left winger, it is Mr. John Charles Brian Barnes. So I'm going to make sure I add this to our current list. In goal, we have picked Ray Clements. At left back, Andy Robinson. Right back was Phil Neal. We had Alan Hansen and Mark Lawrenson at centre backs. On the right hand side, we had Salah, and on the left hand side, we have John Barnes.
You know what? I'm going to have to. You know what? Right? I'm going to put it right. I know if Artie's still on his little private jet and everything like that, right? But I just want to put a little seed out there, right? Now, the first week we done this, okay. My choice was that I weren't going to pick any players who are currently playing. Now, over the last couple of the weeks, we've had a conversation and we've included players who are currently still playing.
Okay.
So I'm going to just put a little seed in there and say, well, look, I think we're going to have a chat about the goalkeeping situation. Because I think the conversation, my only reason why I chose Clements is because we weren't going to be picking any players that were still playing. And we have. I'm just going to put it out there.
That's fine. And I appreciate that. So what we'll probably have to do, collectively, we'll review the way that we'll approach the next few shows. So before the next show next week, we'll have a discussion before we go online, and then we'll present it to anybody that's tuned in. And if there's any adjustments, at least then it keeps everybody up to date. All right. So before we end this show, Dr. Blake is just going to give us his thoughts on the Jordan Henderson situation.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
But before I mention that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Next week's show will be at Thursday at 10 o'clock. Okay. Now it will be part 1 of us looking at picking Liverpool's greatest central midfielders. Okay. So next week will be part 1, and the following week will be part 2. The reason why we're doing 2 shows, because I'm confident that the central midfield position for Liverpool is going to open up a lot of conversation, and I have a feeling we're probably going to have more than 10 players to discuss. Okay, so I just hand it over to Dr. Blake, who's going to speak to us very briefly about the Jordan Henderson situation.
Well, before he goes, just going to tell everybody, sit back and enjoy the ride, everyone.
Nah. No, so obviously, so we saw obviously the Hendo story broke, and then Fabinho broke yesterday evening.
Yeah.
And the Fabinho story was a much more advanced, right? So it said that obviously the club in question had actually made a bid for Fabinho, as with the Henderson one, they've made an offer to Henderson. So personally, I think Henderson's got the best PR in modern English football. I think this is primarily a PR stunt. I'm happy to be proven wrong. There's a few things that make me think that. Firstly, would be what Henderson done when he got his last contract, where his camp basically leaked stories about him being unhappy, went against the contract that Edwards had offered to him, leaked the stories about Atletico Madrid and PSG, nonsense. Then you look at small things like, when have we ever seen, and we're all avid Liverpool fans, when have we ever seen topless pictures of Jordan Henderson posted online? So why is it that a 33-year-old on the same week that he's now being linked with a multi-million-pound move to Saudi Arabia is suddenly posting topless pictures? The guy is a very shrewd operator in terms of how he uses actual media. I personally think this is an attempt for him to get an extended contract. This is an attempt to build up his public image by rejecting the millions on offer from Saudi Arabia to almost enhance his legend. Look at Henderson, he turned down the money, his loyalty, he's a top man, all the platitudes, the gratification, the validation that he's looking for. So I generally think he's not going anywhere. This is primarily a media stunt, and he's doing it just to either enhance his image and or get a extended contract. So yeah, I think it's well-placed PR. I think there's probably more chance that Fabinho would go, simply because he isn't as motivated by PR. Obviously, like he's a Brazilian player. He's come from abject poverty. I could be wrong with that, but I think he has. So yeah, the idea of getting or tripling his wages for him is probably quite appealing. Also, as well, Henderson loves England. If you think that as a Liverpool captain and knowing what the England national team means to Liverpool fans, he happily sings the anthem, happily spoken about his ambitions for England. Sometimes that's gone against his role for Liverpool. So the fact that this person who's so media savvy, media driven, his campaign for LGBTQ plus, all the rest of it, going to Saudi Arabia, that he's finally going to throw that all away to then play like in the Middle East, I just don't see happening. PR stunt.
So as promised, we said we'd allow Dr. Blake to have the last word. So in closing, I just want to thank everybody else once again for tuning in for this week's edition of Cop Talk. Just a gentle reminder, we will be back next week, Thursday at 10 p.m. to be picking Liverpool's greatest central midfielder. Preds, thank you very much for being part of the panel this evening, sir. I also want to make sure that we wish Preds a happy birthday. He'll be celebrating his birthday tomorrow, so we could not end the show without saying happy birthday for tomorrow, okay?
My Appleton's ready. But thank you very much,
Okay.
mate. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Con, thanks very much for tuning in this week as well, sir.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks, gents.
Yeah. And Dr. Blake, thanks very much as well for tuning in. We look forward to you joining us on the panel for next week.
Cheers, gents. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.